New Orleans has seen 66 carjackings just since the start of the year. That's 1 or 2 carjackings a day. Well, tonight we focus on one of the young men accused in a string of those crimes. He went through a revolving door for years, leaving crime victims frustrated. Even his own mother says her cries for help went unanswered. Here's Mike Perlstein with the first part of our series, Wrong Turn.
And the threat was very, very direct. I will hurt you badly. I could be dead.
It just like nailed me right in the face.
3 juvenile suspects were arrested. 2 were 16, 1 14. All had been through the juvenile justice system many times before.
The revolving door of juvenile court crops its ugly head again.
That was back in 2019, and Leon Canizero was the Orleans Parish District Attorney. 2 of those young suspects are now serving juvenile life sentences, locked up until they turn 21. But the 3rd juvenile never went to trial, his case delayed by questions about his mental competency.
We won't see this revolving door end until our judicial system has fully become operational again. It is very demoralizing to the officers, of course.
2 years later, carjackings have exploded, and based on the suspects who have been arrested, the majority are being committed by teenagers. Overall, carjackings are up 100% so far this year over last year, and up more than 300% from 2020.
Again, I've said this before. I don't know if this is a video game, Grand Theft Auto, they're playing in real life.
Among the recent crimes, a car stolen with a 5-year-old child still inside on January 7th. 3 days later, a victim was chased, shot at, then tackled in the street after he was carjacked but refused to give up his keys. The thieves used a spare key to take off with his car.
And have their property taken from them, and are assaulted and are threatened and shot. Yeah, we're all the victims.
In those 2 cases and several other armed robberies, police arrested this 18-year-old, Quinton Skipper. Now that he's an adult in the eyes of the law, we can reveal that Skipper was that 3rd juvenile who was still awaiting trial in the 2019 carjacking spree. He never went to trial. His alleged victims were never notified. And now it appears that Quinton Skipper could now be Exhibit A of the system's failure to deal with young carjacking suspects.
Why does there appear to be almost a revolving door for kids who are arrested for carjacking?
Well, we do not release kids that are arrested for carjacking.
Despite Chief Juvenile Court Judge Ranord Darensburg's recent statement to the contrary, Skipper was indeed released. Now he's facing more than a dozen new charges, this time as an adult.
I was blown away.
Elizabeth Schindler was one of Skipper's alleged victims in that 2019 carjacking spree. Back then, she wanted to remain anonymous. She says she was still waiting to be called for Skipper's trial when we told her he had been released and rearrested as an adult.
Imagine my utter shock when you reach out and you tell me, oh, turns out he's been out.
They told the judge that they would prefer giving back to his mom because we don't know how to deal with that and they didn't want the responsibility.
Cardella Skipper is Quinton's mother. She pleaded with juvenile justice authorities to provide help for her son. She said she received vague promises, but nothing happened. Did he get the help that he needed and that they said they were going to give him?
No, he didn't get the help that he needed.
As his family admits, Quinton needed help. His father died when he was a baby. He lost a brother to diabetes. After a mental illness diagnosis, he started getting into scrapes with the law. Then, at 14, he suffered a life-threatening aneurysm.
And I knew since the aneurysm, like he had a problem, but my brother really kinda ain't been the same since then.
He got injured in jail. Somebody hit him to his head and he wasn't supposed to take no blow to his head.
Quinton's mental state grew more volatile. His trips to juvenile jail became more frequent, but programs to curb his behavior did not.
The system failed him. The system failed.
His older brother Garland did what he could.
He used to try to listen, then it's like It's like he'll wave her back off.
You think he could have been helped?
Yeah, if they would have helped him, it would have been different.
After getting released from the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center in the spring, Skipper got arrested again by early summer, this time in Jefferson Parish on cocaine and marijuana charges. While locked up, he got charged with battery on a jailer. And yet again, Quinton Skipper was released. On January 10th, police say the man seen being tackled in this video became one of his most recent carjacking victims. And he was released without any conditions. What's your reaction to that?
That is just overwhelmingly shocking. If you're going to release these kids, then they need to be released into programs that can help them. And if there's no programs that can help them, then what are we doing as a city?
They re-release this troubled child back into the environment that created the criminal to begin with.
Schindler hopes the system can find ways to help juveniles like Skipper, but in the meantime, after her boyfriend was carjacked himself on New Year's Eve, both went out and purchased guns.
I just don't want to be that helpless on the day, like on a daily basis.
Through all of the trips to jail, all the pleas for help, all of the victims, there was another voice that apparently was ignored: Quinton Skipper's. You would have preferred that he stay in and get some kind of help rather than be back out here now catching it.
Yes, yes, and he also said himself, jail saves people sometimes.